Have you been dedicating significant effort in the gym, but feeling discouraged by the limited progress in your calves? This muscle seems to be one of the most difficult to develop, and in this video, we'll discuss the 3 best exercises that will accelerate your calf growth, along with advice on how to get the most out of them. Welcome back to another video. I'm Brendan Martinez. I'm currently getting my doctorate in physical therapy. Now, before we jump into the 3 exercises, let's do a quick anatomy review so we understand how our calves are made up. Your calves are made up of 2 big muscles. You have your gastrocnemius and your soleus. Your gastrocs are more superficial, meaning it's the outermost muscle and what people typically associate your calf muscle with. Then you have your soleus muscle, which is deep to the gastroc, and they both perform plantar flexion, which is when you point your toes down. However, the mechanism of how you train them is where they differ. When you perform any calf raise with your knees straight, you're primarily going to be working the gastrocs, whereas when you have your knees bent, you'll primarily be working the soleus. This difference is important to note because many people tend to only do straight-legged calf raises, and they're only working their gastrocs, which is a huge mistake. And now that we understand how our calves are made up, let's jump into the first exercise, which is going to be donkey calf raises. Donkey calf raises have been found on several studies to provide the most muscle activation using EMGs. And donkey calf raises have so much variability, meaning you can vary it depending on your goal for the exercise. If you want to target more of your gastrocs, you can keep your knees straight. Whereas if you want to target more of the soleus muscle or have significantly tight hamstrings, you can perform this exercise with more of a knee bend. And you can also perform it single leg if you really want to overload each muscle and prevent any compensations. Now let's go over how to properly perform this exercise. While holding onto a railing, bench, or some kind of upper extremity support, you want to perform the calf raise while keeping your knees straight and a neutral back. And if you're performing this at home and you don't have an aerobic step, a way around this is you can take 2 dumbbells, place it on the floor, and it's going to act the exact same way. It's going to elevate the toes and put more tension on the calf. Now, a very common mistake and something that we want to avoid is being too upright. Keeping your back parallel to the ground will keep more of a stretch on the calves and place more tension throughout the entire exercise, ultimately leading to more growth. And like I mentioned earlier, if you have very tight hamstrings or you're trying to bias the soleus muscle, performing this exercise with our knees bent is a great alternative and something you should integrate into your training program. And that wraps up exercise number 1. Now let's jump into the second exercise, which is going to be single leg eccentric training, or as I like to call it, up with 2, down with 1. And as I've covered in many videos, eccentric training is arguably the most essential component for muscle growth. And this is when you're contracting a muscle as it lengthens. So the goal with this exercise is to heavily overload our calf muscles eccentrically. And you can perform this exercise whether it's on a Smith machine, on the calf raise machine, or with free weights. And the name of the exercise explains exactly how to perform it. You go up with 2 legs and then you only come down with 1. The goal, however, is to choose a weight that's heavier than what you would do if you were to perform a max single leg calf raise. The way I choose my weight is exactly that. I'll perform a max single leg calf raise and then add 15 to 20 pounds. You will then perform a calf raise just as you normally would. You'll lift one leg and aim to return to the starting position as slow as you can. And just like the donkey calf raise, I like to place a plate underneath my toes just to put more tension and stretch on the calf complex. This exercise is primarily going to be working our gastrocs since our knees are in an extended position, and when done properly, this exercise will light up your calves. Now let's jump into the third and final tip of this video, which is to integrate seated calf raises. As I hinted to during the anatomy review, the soleus muscle is frequently overlooked in many individuals' training routines, and this will substantially decrease the overall calf size you can achieve. It can also be beneficial to integrate that heavy eccentric training that we discussed in the last exercise into this one, and that can further optimize your soleus growth. Now, most gyms have a seated calf raise machine, and I'm not going to discuss how to do it because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. However, if your gym doesn't, a workaround for this is the Smith machine. What we can do is bring a bench over to the Smith machine, and once again you can place a plate underneath your toes to increase the tension on the calf complex. It also would be smart to place a bar pad on the Smith machine because putting that much weight through the quads can be pretty uncomfortable. Since the soleus is rich in type 1 muscle fibers, use higher reps. Think 15 plus reps or sets of 60 to 90 seconds, and we're going to aim for 3 to 5 total sets. If this exercise is placed at the beginning of a workout, this can help pre-fatigue the type 1 muscle fibers, so your type 2 fibers really need to do most of the work when it comes to executing the rest of the workout. And if you incorporate all 3 of these exercises into your leg day routine, you're not only going to accelerate your calf growth, but you're going to finally start seeing the results you've been dreaming of. And if you're truly serious about growing your calves or any muscle in general, you need to watch this video next. It's going to tell you the benefits of lifting in the morning versus at night, and the results may shock you.